Recording.
There we go. A little red light. Okay, let me pull in my table muscle so it's not too bad, you know what I mean? Okay. Edit. 3, 2, 1. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to this week's shooting show. And you can tell, now we're not on the farm this week. In fact, we're on a ranch. We're out at Gun Sight in beautiful suburban Paulden, Arizona. And I want to introduce you to a couple of fine folks. This is Rich G. He is president and CEO.
Hi, Johnny.
And
how are you
Rich,
today?
it's nice to see you. I tell you what, he's in charge. Now, I understand he can be pretty tough, but he is a very nice fella. And,
well, thank you.
Well, they run a tight ship here, folks. And this gentleman here is Jack Furr.
See you, Johnny.
Jack, it's a pleasure to be here. A lot of our viewers have heard of Gun Sight. They've heard of so many good things and positive things. And friends, let me tell you what, this is probably the most famous shooting school in the world. And from what I've seen here today, I'm on my way back to Louisiana from the Soldier of Fortune Convention in Las Vegas. And it is a beautiful, a fabulous facility that they have. And you're going to be seeing some things just a little bit later on. You're going to see a synopsis or a general, some information about not only their school, but their entire shooting program. They do have a complete gunsmith shop here on site, in fact. And if you have a problem with your gun, if you want to come out here and go through one of the courses, well, they can just about fix almost any problem you have.
We'll even go there, too.
Unless your wife is giving you trouble.
You bet.
About being here. And they're like me. They don't get involved in that sort of thing at all. Well, you know, we're going to be doing a little shooting here, and I brought my old Ruger single action, and yes, they have made a little fun of me out here, but I'm saying, guys, this was a combat gun before the Colt was even thought of, the 1911. So anyway, we're going to have Jack open our program today, and without further ado, as I like to say, let's let another shooting show begin.
Let's go.
Okay. All right. I'll reset. Hold up, Jack. I'll photograph you. All right. I'll step out here. And
you want to use this barricade?
Can? Let me get it. We still got, yeah, oh yeah, we can get shape on light. I need it. Can if you want to. Doesn't make any difference.
Don't need it.
You see the face?
Yeah.
Sir?
Oh yeah. I got it. You want to?
You going to give an explanation, or anybody, or we just want to kind of shoot?
We're just going to turn face us, draw, and shoot. Why don't you do a double, 2 shots?
He's going to.
I'm not cultured enough to say double tap.
No, he's going to shoot that way.
Yeah, right. I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope. Face us. Let me get a good front shot of you, Jack.
Do
all right, face us.
Okay, do a pivot and shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, if I come out here to school, I'll know all these terms. You know what I mean?
You want to try it once, Jack?
Sir?
Okay.
Let's go. We can do it a couple of times.
Do it cold. Stand by.
Eddie,
Look at us.
3, fall off the mountain
2,
here.
1. That's okay. If you fall off, it'll be a great shot. Okay.
Why don't you wear your glasses, Jack?
Yeah. We always show. No problem with that at all. Great.
Pretty.
Tell me when you're ready.
Anytime.
Anytime.
Yeah. Edit.
Missed.
Take 2. Edit. 3, 2, 1. Go. Now smile. Edit. 3, 2, 1. Okay, Jack. Shoot about 2 more times. I'll give you some hydro shots.
No problem. 2 more. Say when.
Okay. All right. Okay, intro, edit, 3, 2, 1. Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shootin' Show, and welcome again to today's program. We're so glad to have everyone with us. Friends, we have a tremendous job ahead of us. We've got to reach the rest of the American population. Those people that are on the fence, those people that don't know much about shooting, we have got to let them know why we as decent citizens enjoy these firearms, why we need them in our homes, and why we have got to have these guns to retain not only our constitutional rights, but in fact our way of life. Friends, we have got to do it. We're so glad to have everyone with us. We have an interesting program today. We're going to talk about some new projects we have in store. So let's open today's Shootin' Show with this Springfield M1A in 308. Let's take a look at it. And let's take our American Derringer. Okay, intro, edit, 3, 2, 1. Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shootin' Show, and welcome to today's program. We're so glad to have you, whether you're an experienced shooter or someone new to shooting or someone who wants to learn more about guns. You know, friends, those of us who enjoy firearms have got a tremendous job ahead of us. We've got to reach the rest of the American population and help them understand why we as shooters enjoy going out and shooting our guns, why we enjoy owning and collecting firearms. Because, you know, it's more than our constitutional right that is at stake. It's more like our way of life literally is at stake, because we have people in Washington, and let's call them what they are. They're Nazi socialist types that literally want to disarm our population, who don't trust us, the decent citizen, with firearms. And you know, you've got to contact your representatives and your senators. You've got to let them know how you feel, because, friends, now is the time. We can't be, the decent people cannot be a silent majority any longer. What we have to become, we've got to stand up, we've got to become vocal, we've got to let them know how we feel and what we're going to and what we're not going to stand for. It's got to be done. We have a great show for you today. We have some new projects that I think you're all going to be interested in, so let's go ahead and get another Shootin' Show underway. Let's start off with our Springfield M1A. And let's take our American Derringer. All right, edit, 3, 2, 1. All right. Edit, 3, 2, 1. Well, friends, today we're going to look at a different sort of handgun than we're normally used to seeing here on the show. And believe me, you're going to be seeing a lot more of these. These are the American Derringer guns. This is a double action 38. Of course, you can see from the picture there, it looks a lot like the old high standard style Derringer. And today's chambering here is in 38 special. All right, and the next gun we have is the Model 1 M1 with the oversized grips. Now this chambering is in 40 Smith & Wesson, and probably, in my opinion anyway, this is the best compromise caliber available from American Derringer. They have over 60 calibers that you can order these guns in, but as far as efficiency, bullet effectiveness, and all around general neat caliber, the 40 is probably my own personal favorite. And of course here we have the 45/410, and of course you can see in the picture a 410 shot shell, in this case the triple-aught buckshot shell. and also the Great 45 Colt. And this is the original M1 model. And these are such well-made, neat guns. Edit, bring me back up, edit, 3, 2, 1. You know, friends, these little guns, and they are small guns, they're smaller than the palm of my hand by a long shot. In fact, you can see from, in comparison to our 45 government model Colt, the Derringer there is a very small handgun. But I tell you what, these guns have a number of uses. One as a backup gun. In the right calibers, they're excellent to carry for the ladies in a purse or something like that. A tremendous concealment gun. And see, you have power available that used to never be available in such a small gun. Now, someone might say, well, what about one of the small revolvers? And they're fine. There are a lot of very fine small revolvers out there. But the advantage that a Derringer has, one, is simplicity. You've got two, of course, these break underneath. You have the latch. This is a Remington pattern. This pattern's been around for, oh my, who knows, since the 1800s as far as the way this gun is put together, the design of the gun. Of course, they have several updates. One, the guns are in all stainless steel. You have a manual safety. It's much, much stronger than the original Remington Derringers. In fact, these are not cheap guns, certainly not. They are extremely well made. They're quality pieces. We're going to be showing you up close in just a moment how they work. But anyway, you'll pull the barrels up, and of course you've just got two chambers, two holes, simplicity, and if that's not good enough, they're simple. Someone may have some confusion about how to operate a revolver or a small semi-automatic. On these Derringers, though, you can see pretty much how everything works and what happens when you manually thumb cock the hammer with your thumb. The firing pin mechanism, or the mechanism internally that will enable the hammer to connect up with one of the two firing pins, it will alternate from top to bottom, And as far as being able to work when they're dirty, guns like this are extremely reliable, maybe more so than most other types of repeating handguns, because there's just not much way that one can malfunction. They are extremely strong as compared, as we said a moment ago, to the original Remingtons. One, your metal is of a superior quality. And the beauty part about this particular 45/410, you do have the advantage of using the 410 shot shell cartridge, or the shotgun hull that you would use in a 410 shotgun. And what that does, it gives you a tremendous, I'm going to say snake gun, because at any close distance you can nail a snake with one of these. Now, I wouldn't try to hunt small game with one, because you just don't have the velocity that a longer barrel shotgun would have. But for a thin-skinned animal like a snake, I would think that would be tremendous. Now, one of the things we'll talk about today, we don't want to shoot a 410 shot shell at something that could possibly ricochet back at you. You don't want to shoot, say, into a concrete, as you would with any shotgun. You wouldn't walk up to a concrete wall and shoot a shotgun into it, because some of those pellets are going to come back and possibly injure you. Well, I don't know about injury, but they'll darn sure sting. And I don't believe I would shoot into, say, some boards or something, or pipe, something like that, with the shot pellets, because of the danger of ricochet. And of course, when you're shooting any time on the range, we always wear shooting glasses. But if you're on a trail somewhere, you darn sure, and shot at a snake, you want to be sure of what your backstop is. But for a fishing gun, something like that, where you're going to be concerned with snakes in the weeds there or bushes, well, I tell you what, this M1 Derringer with 45, or with the 410, I'll get it right in a minute, the 410 shot shell would be very hard to beat. Also, an advantage that the triple-aught buckshot has, and we'll look at those in just a moment, you have three 35 caliber pellets that weigh about 68 grains apiece. I know, because we cut one open and weighed them. And this is a low penetration load, but I would think would be an excellent self-defense load for up close and personal. And that's really where these guns are designed to be used. They're up close and personal guns. They're not for shooting out here at 10, 15, 25 yards, but for someone who's attacking you, someone, and we're going to be sure that this gun is unloaded. Yes, it is. but if someone were attacking you in the immediate, point-blank, immediate vicinity, it would be real good for self-defense up close and personal. You can put this gun in different places in your clothing or in a carrying purse or whatever else, briefcase, easier than you could a larger gun, but you still have the advantage. And let me talk about, this is the M1 in 40 S&W. This is probably, as I said earlier, one of the most efficient chamberings, because now we fitted this one with the larger grip. This gun comes standard with the small grip that the M1s have, but for shooting the ultra powerful ammunition. And what we've done, we shot some carbine ammunition in this gun, and it attains almost full-size gun performance. So that is really an advantage, and the American Derringer people have several different grip profiles, and they're working on, as I understand, a rubber grip, something that will be easier on your hand in recoil. But let me tell you what, this little Derringer here is no joke. You have, we've chronographed the carbine 135 grain bullet at about 1,200 feet per second out of this little Derringer. Now wait a minute, friends. That is what we call, that is almost full-size 40 caliber gun performance. In fact, the carbine ammunition lends a new dimension to the 40 S&W. The standard 40 S&W is a nice caliber, but it becomes for real in carbine. And shooting, these guns shoot the carbine real well. It gives no problems. And let's take a closer look. Since we're talking about it, let's just take a closer look at these guns. Edit 3, 2, 1. Now friends, we're looking at our Model 1 here in 40 S&W, and let me show you how it works. You have a spring loaded, here's your little spring plunger there, push it in and rotate the lever back, and the barrels literally open upwards, see? And on this particular gun, you'll notice there is no ejector because it's for a semi-automatic pistol cartridge, a rimless cartridge, but never fear, you can just pull them right out with your finger or they'll fall out. This one's been shot a good bit, and we'll just have to take them out with our fingernails. Very simple. And to close the gun, of course, you would load it and close it like so. Now, the hinge here is tight from the factory on these guns, and that's to ensure long life, because some people are going to go out and shoot these things and shoot them, which they will certainly do. If you're a lady or an older person who might not have too much strength in your fingers, and of course I don't think they're objectionable, it's just tight, the factory can loosen this up for you, and they'll do that for you if you so desire. Now then, we've closed our barrels. We're going to rotate our lever back, our locking lever here. And this is the manual safety right here. And the safety, depressed, it is on. When you cock the gun to shoot it, it automatically comes out and the gun's ready for firing. So you see, you cock it back a little bit, push the safety on, and now you can drop the gun or whatever else. It's not going to go off because this is a hammer block safety. A very well thought out, a very positive mechanism. Now this is the larger optional grip. In shooting the heavier kicking calibers, it's really an advantage. So if you're going to go out and really learn to shoot the gun and practice with it, I recommend having two sets of grips, the standard small grips to carry and the larger grips to really practice with the gun with. All right, let's load the gun. And before you load it, this is really important, before you even think about loading it, the first thing you're going to do is pull that hammer back a little bit and depress, put that safety on, because that's going to protect you from any kind of accident in the loading cycle here. We'll open our gun and we'll get a couple of 40 S&W shells and just push them right in place. And yes, we are shooting the carbine, because this really makes this 40 S&W into a serious gun. Now then, we'll get a good grip on it, and we'll go ahead and cock it like so. Don't touch that trigger till we're ready to shoot, and we're going to aim at the center of our target, and yes indeed, we're a couple inches low, which is certainly more than accurate enough for our intended purpose here. Let's shoot it again. And of course that one went right in the little bullseye there. So, again, more than close enough for what we're talking about for defensive use. All right, edit 3, 2, 1. All right, friends, let's take a close look at the DA Derringer, double action Derringer. It's called a DA 38, and this is another concept. Of course, American Derringer, their business is Derringers, although they do make a number of different products. Now, this gun, of course, has no trigger guard. It's very much like the high standard Derringers of years past, but it has an edit. Let's do it again. Edit 3, 2, 1. Now, friends, what we're looking at here is the American Derringer DA 38, and this is has a profile very similar to the high standard pattern of several years ago, except this is in 38 special. You notice you don't have a trigger guard. It has one other important difference from the old high standard guns. It has a manual safety. When this is up, nothing will happen. The gun, the trigger cannot be pulled. Of course, it opens like this. We have the latch here on top. Pull it up. Of course, it has an integral ejector there. And yes, it is dirty. Yes, we have been shooting this gun, but very finely made, an excellent concept. We know it's empty. Just close it, just push it down, and of course it locks up. Now then, to shoot the gun, we'll just push down on our safety there, and all you have to do is just pull the trigger. And it has alternating mechanism, so the top firing pin is hit, then the bottom. So this is very, very simple, and this may be an excellent idea for a lot of the ladies out there, someone who's not comfortable cocking a gun. This would be a tremendous option. It is a slim, and you can tell just how small. It is quite a bit smaller than the palm of my hand. Well, let's load it and shoot it. So we'll go ahead and lift the top there, and we'll put in our 38 special bullet. Now all we have to do is just close it, push our safety down, and we've taped our target. Let's see what it looks like. Yes, indeed. Yes, we have a hole right above our bullseye there, and in fact right next to it. So more than adequate accuracy for the type scenario this gun is designed to be used in. Yes, it is more than accurate enough, and very, very finely made. Remember that the 38/357 shot cartridges are available for this little gun, and this would be an option for small pests or for snakes. All right, edit 3, 2, 1. And let's take a look at our other Derringer. This is the M1 in 45 Colt /410, and it works just like the M1 we looked at a few minutes ago. You have the lever here, and always be sure that safety is in place before you ever unlatch that barrel. And it just rotates up, and this particular gun, since it's a rimmed cartridge, you have an extractor or an ejector or whatever you want to call it. It pushes the empty hulls out there on the side and works really well. So let's take a look at a couple of the options we have here. We have edit, darn, bear with me, Bill. Now then, let's see. Bring back in, edit 3, 2, 1. Now friends, let's go ahead, let's load one of our triple-aught buckshot loads here into our gun. And now let's put a 45 Colt shell in the other barrel. And of course we know we've already put that safety on. We're going to close it like so. Edit 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead and close the gun. Want to be very careful. Of course, we'll close our lever here. Yes, the hammer is in safe position. Want to be careful to keep your hands and fingers out from in front of that muzzle on these guns. You just can't be too careful. Certainly around any firearm, we always have to remain, and especially on these smaller guns, you can take them for granted, and they are in fact real and powerful guns. So we need to have a little extra measure of safety, certainly care in how we handle these guns, because we just don't want any accidents. Well, let's take a look at our 45 Colt, and let me caution you, with the small grips on these guns, if you have a large hand like I do, keep that thumb down low away from any of the parts up here, because it's going to snag you like it did me. It's all a matter of grip, so be sure and keep that thumb down away from your safety there or anything else. So let's take a look at it. Shooting the .45 Colt. Yes, that's no joke. You can see the hole there above our bullseye. And now then, let's shoot our buckshot with 3 different pellets in it. Let's see what the buckshot looks like on the target. Yes, 3 holes at one time there. All right, edit 3, 2, 1. Just remember, friends, we still have the option of that 410 shot shell. Yes, that's potent. All right, friends, edit 3. Okay, we're on. All right, edit 3, 2, 1. My friends, just to show you an example of the 40 caliber, the .45 Colt is a great old shell, and of course this is going to be a very versatile. In fact, what we need is more than one of these American Derringers. Let me show you the performance of the regular .45 Colt bullet on one of these water bottles here. Now just take a look. Okay. We have a hole in, hole out. Yes, we do have a leak there. All right. Now then, let me show you the tremendous Corbine load out of the same model Derringer, but the Corbine in 40 caliber. Let's take a look at it. I think you'll agree that 40 caliber Corbine makes this into a super powerful small gun. All right, bear with me, Bill. Edit 3, 2, 1. You know, friends, these Derringers really do have a place, and what would make it so important to have one of these, you know, if you are licensed to carry a concealed gun, you can carry a Derringer where no one would possibly ever know that you happen to have a gun, and this could be the one that would save your life. You know, personally, I'd rather face if I had an adversary or had to be in a defensive confrontation, I'd rather have a shotgun or an AR-15 or a 41 Magnum or a Colt 45. But you know what? You can get the full-size gun power, one of the most effective power combinations for such a small gun. Well, out of 60 chambers, you just decide which one you want. But these guns are so well made from American Derringer. And you know, this could be the most important gun that you might own, because it would be the one that you might most likely have with you in the event of an altercation. This could be the gun, in fact, that might save your life or save the lives of your family, or certainly protect your property. So friends, I tell you what, these are tremendous guns, and we're so happy to have American Derringer as one of our new sponsors. And this is for real. You know, we've had them on the show before. We've always talked about how well made they were, how dependable they were, and we're very pleased to be working with those good folks now. Now, for information on American Derringers, on their entire product line, here's how to get it. Okay, edit 3, 2, 1. Well, friends, today we have a couple of very important rifles, one of which is the Springfield M1A, which is very similar. It's a semi-automatic version of the M14, the U.S. military rifle from the mid-1950s. It's even in limited use even until today, still being used by some of our military forces. And one of the very best weapons of its type, it's in .308 Winchester, a 7.62 caliber. And this, of course, is your Colt Sporter, but it looks a lot like an AR-15. And it's taken, this basic gun is taken certainly from the AR-15 military type rifle. You know, there's been a lot of controversy over the years on which gun was best. We went into Vietnam having this gun, this M14, and this incantation is the M1A from Springfield. And a lot of the troops there in jungle warfare, it was a little bit large, I think, for your South Vietnamese type soldier who were smaller people. And in the jungle type warfare, it is a rather large rifle. It was thought to be a little bit unhandy and somewhat maybe overpowered. And along comes the AR-15, which I believe started with a move on the Air Force part as a small, light, high-capacity rifle to be used by the Air Force. And it was so effective in jungle-type warfare that the rest of the services decided that it would be good for them too. But as recently as Desert Storm, we saw a good number of the M14s being taken out of mothballs there and used by some of our troops, because you do have a much more powerful cartridge over long distances than the 223. And let's take a look. You can see from the picture the comparison between the 223, the smaller cartridge, and of course the .308 Winchester, the other cartridge there is a huge difference. Now the 223 exits the muzzle of this Colt Sporter at about, it's a 55 grain bullet at roughly 3,150 feet per second. It has about 1,200 or so foot-pounds of energy with that 55 grain bullet. And the military is using other weight bullets. They're using a 68 grain bullet. Doesn't run quite as fast. I'm going to assume the muzzle energy is about the same. Whereas the .308 bullet here with this happens to be a Winchester silver tip, 150 grain bullet, moves at about 2,700 feet per second for, roughly 2,300 foot-pounds of energy. So you're looking at a tremendous amount of energy difference between the two cartridges, and the capabilities of the two guns are somewhat different. One, the AR-15 type gun can be fired in full auto with a controllable aim or sight picture, whereas I've never heard anyone say they could fire the original M14 on full auto and control it. It's just a little too much cartridge for the weight of the gun. The M1A here, and of course we're talking about edit. Let's come in. Let's come beam me back up there, Bill. Instead of beam me up, Scotty, beam me back up, Bill. All right. Edit 3, 2, 1. Now, friends, the M1A goes sort of back to the old school of battle rifle design. You have a very nice walnut stock here. It's an oil type stock, an all steel action. You have a flash hider down here on the end of the barrel. It works very similar to the Garand. I think the action was basically taken from the Garand, which was such a tremendous service rifle in World War II, and even today is still being used by some countries in that capacity. But the M14 is sort of the old rifle type, or what we think of as a battle rifle type design. And tell you what, friends, the design may date back from the 30s or so, from the original M1 Garand, but let me tell you what, this rifle is as good today as it ever was. They're tremendously accurate. Typically the Springfield M1As win all sorts of long-range tournaments in high-power rifle competition, and the actions are very rugged and extremely reliable. Honestly, I don't have a bad thing to say about these guns because they're so highly desirable. They are somewhat more expensive, but for my information and looking at the way this gun performs, it's probably worth the higher price over some of the imports, the copies coming in from other countries. This is really first rate all the way. Now then, our Colt Sporter, shall we say, is a little more modern in design. You have a composition fore-end, a composition type stock. Synthetics, a lot of the gun, the receiver and all is made of aluminum. It certainly looks a little more space age than our M1A there, but it is a very fine gun in its own right. The controversy is it doesn't take as large a person, or you can shoot this Colt Sporter type gun more edit, come back up, edit, 3, 2, 1. You know, one of the reasons for this particular gun over our larger 308 there is it's easier for different sizes of people to shoot. Now with women in the armed forces, women can certainly handle this Colt Sporter type gun a lot easier, say, than our version of the M14, the M1A here. You don't have as much recoil. I don't personally find the 308 that objectionable, but you have almost none with a 223, and within its limitation, I think this would probably be closer to a battle carbine, and this, in fact, the M1A is a battle rifle, and the effective range of the 223 is not going to be nearly as great, say, as the 308 size cartridge. But let's do a little test right quick. In fact, let's go ahead and shoot the guns and let you see what they look like in full and recoil from my shoulder anyway. Let's take a look at it. Load the gun. Get my hearing protection in good because they are loud. And we'll wait a minute. All right, Bill, we'll go back to the, let's go back to the picture of the two guns, and we'll come up on me here. Right here. All right. Edit. 3, 2, 1. And put our safety on. Friends, you can see you have very little muzzle rise at all, very little recoil. But again, you don't have as much power as our 308 cartridge. So let's take a look at our M1A in recoil. Pull that bolt handle all the way back, let it go, and of course our safety's on. Let's take a look at it. And apply our safety, of course. The M1A has a 20-round box magazine, whereas we have a 20 to 30 round box magazine available for our Colt Sporter. What's up? Okay. All right, friends, edit. 3, 2, 1. Well, let's run an experiment, friends, and we know yes, it is loaded. Yes, it is. Let's compare the speed of the two guns, at least in my hands, and bear in mind, I'm just the average shooter with a little bit of practice. Any one of you can do at least as well as me or better than me with a little practice, I'm sure. We have our pro timer on. Let's put 3 shots, 1 shot on each target. We're about 30 feet away from the paper targets there. And let's compare the two guns and just see how long it takes. Let's see if there's a difference in speed of accuracy. And neither one of these guns are spray and pray type guns. That means spray the target with bullets and pray some of them hit. That's not what they're for. That's absolutely not. Go ahead and turn our timer on. And I'll turn around and get in position. The timer will start me from a semi-ready position. Let's see how long it takes. Okay, 2.28 seconds, which is not a particularly fast or slow time. We will apply our safety and put the gun down. All right, Eddie, come back in. All right, we have 3 good hits. Hit here, hit within the circle here, hit within our circle here. So certainly 3 good hits for what we're trying to do. Aim shots at fairly rapid fire. All right, let's take our M1A. And you'll notice I didn't tape those targets because there's going to be a difference in the size of the hole. We won't have any trouble seeing the difference. So let's do the same drill. It is loaded, semi-ready position. All right, we'll go ahead and start our timer. You ready? Okay. Here we go, Bill. Straight up. Okay, 1.82 seconds. My hits weren't quite as good. I was slightly below the circle. Put our gun on safe. Let's see, we got a hit right here, just outside the circle. Good hit here. I was a little bit low here. Again, friends, we're not talking about enough that will make a lot of difference. Truthfully, between these two guns, it's just going to be which caliber you like and which one you like to shoot, certainly. Both of them are tremendous guns. We'll be doing an accuracy test on our M1A a little bit further along, but both of these are tremendous service-type rifles, and you know what? The anti-gun people want to take both of these guns away from us, the honest citizen, the decent shooter. You know, friends, we cannot let them get away with it. This is our heritage, and this is our fail-safe to keep control of our own government. Friends, we cannot let them get away with it. This is an excellent time for you to join the Shootin' Show Gun Club. Friends, we need everyone we can get in the Shootin' Show Gun Club. Please help us retain our firearms rights. All right, friends. All right, Eddie. 3, 2, 1. Let's run one more quick experiment in rapid fire. And bear in mind, these are both semi-automatic guns. But let's look at our dispersal or our pattern for 5 quick rounds as fast as I can shoot. We'll let the timer start me, and we'll get in position here and just see how long it takes to shoot. Come up. All right, we'll apply our safety, of course. Now, friends, that's 5 shots in 1.6 seconds, and we have a 1-inch group. Now, that is probably as much reason for anything else as a smaller cartridge. It is so easy to shoot rapidly. Let's try the same drill with our M1A. 1.6 seconds, 5 shots, a 1-inch group here. Same drill with our M1A. All right, and apply our safety. Let's take a look at this target. We went from 5 shots in a very small group to 5 shots in 1.12 seconds, almost as fast, only 0.06 of a second away. But let's take a look at those two groups. All right, edit 3, 2, 1. Now, friends, you can see the group here with the Colt Sporter, the .223 caliber, and here, of course, 5 shots as fast as I can shoot with the M1A. We're looking at about a 3.5-inch group here and a 1-inch group there. Now, that is the advantage that the smaller cartridge has over the larger cartridge. You can shoot it much faster, accurately. I couldn't be as accurate, and this is the reason that the M14 was not successful in full auto fire, because it was too difficult to control. Now, in aimed fire, you can see that there's just almost no difference. In fact, I was faster with the M1A than I was with the Colt Sporter. But there's the reason for the smaller caliber in full auto fire. with the recoil reducer, the beaver tail grip safety, the excellent Chip McCormick hammer and sear, we may make a special price on that. And of course, we do have the Chip McCormick magazines that are available, the Shooting Star magazines, 8 rounds instead of 7 in 45 ACP. So I think we'll just do that. I think we'll call it a Shoot and Show basic custom package, and a lot of you might enjoy having guns outfitted similar to the one that we're using on the program.
Okay, edit 3, 2, 1. Now friends, you can tell the polish and fit on these new Wesson guns is just outstanding. You can tell this has the fixed sights, and it doesn't have any sharp edges. It is very smooth to go in and out of a holster. In any place you might carry this gun concealed with the rounded wood grips. It's very easy to draw. It's not very likely to snag on anything as far as the sharp surfaces of the gun. It is so well polished and finished. And reminding you about the Wesson, instead of having the cylinder lock back here or cylinder release latch, it is up here on the crane on the Wesson revolvers. You can see the cylinder is slightly recessed. It gives you an extra measure of protection there, I suppose. But these guns are so smooth and so well thought out, and they really do shoot extremely well for the type of gun they are.
Edit 3, 2, 1. Now friends, comparing the two revolvers, this is our 686 and of course our Wesson 357 fixed barrel. The guns are very similar as far as length and height dimensions, but the Wesson is a slightly smaller gun. This is made on a slightly smaller frame, although the top strap and the frame there is actually thicker on the than on the Smith & Wesson. The Wesson cylinder is slightly smaller. It uses, instead of a K-frame, I'm sorry, I'll get it right in a second. How about an L frame on your 686 Smith & Wesson? The cylinder on the Wesson 357 is comparable to the K-frame. It's slightly smaller, or the 38 special frame. And of course, the speed loaders that fit the model 10 or so, the K-frame Smith & Wessons, work also in the Wessons. And here's our Safariland speed loader. We'll just put it right in here and push, and of course the gun is loaded. So we're going to shoot the gun in just a moment and let you look as far as just the recoil sensation. It doesn't, and I don't know why, but the angle of the grip, or for some other reason, it just doesn't have nearly as much recoil as I thought it would. This would be a tremendous home defense gun, tremendous gun for a detective or someone that's going to carry a gun concealed. And of course you still have the full charge 357 Magnum capability. And loaded with these Federal 125 grain jacketed hollow points or the Corbin ammunition, these guns take on a full size service revolver capability, yet in a very compact size. One of the things I want to mention to you, the Wessons are, right now, they're extremely economical to buy. They're considerably less to buy in retail than, say, a comparable Smith & Wesson. And not taking anything away from the Smith & Wesson, but right now the Wessons are a little more economical. So I don't know how long they can hold that price down there with the quality of the work they're doing, because it is just excellent. Well, let's shoot the gun and let you look at it in recoil. And I want to add, these fixed barrel guns have proven to be every bit as accurate as the removable barrel Wessons have been. They've really built a reputation for accuracy, and this fixed barrel gun seems to be just outstandingly accurate. We've shot it at about 20 yards or so, and it is really showing some small groups even with the full powered ammunition. So let's shoot the gun and let you look at it in recoil in my hands anyway. And I think you'll watch, of course we're shooting the full charge Federal 357 Magnum ammunition. I think you're going to be impressed with the lack of recoil. So alright, let's do that right now. We've got our earplugs in well. Yes, because these things are loud. Alright. See, it just wasn't that bad. It didn't really rear up in my hand. We'll shoot it a couple of times pretty rapidly. It's just, I don't know, it's a little miracle here at engineering as far as I'm concerned. Of course, we've got, and 6 times. Edit 3, 2, 1. Friends, we've reloaded our Wesson 357 and we're going to shoot our paper target. Admittedly, we're pretty close, but I want to show you, or at least give you some idea of the accuracy potential even with the 2.5-inch barrel. A lot of people I've read in places, people make reference to a 2-inch gun or a 2.5-inch gun as being hopelessly inaccurate. Well, that's just not so. You do have to watch your front sight a little more carefully because it's closer to your back sight for that matter, and it takes a little more concentration, but these guns will amaze you in what they will do. So let's take a look at it on the paper target now. Edit 3, 2, 1. Well, friends, we got a little wind noise out here today. You can tell we're definitely outside. A little nippy this morning, in fact, here in northwest Louisiana. Well, we got a helicopter up here, so you can probably hear that too. Well, friends, as I was saying, these are tremendous guns. You can get these guns with adjustable or fixed sights like this. Edit 3, 2, 1. Well, friends, we have a helicopter coming over and we got wind out here. You know we're outside. No denying that. And plus it's a little nippy here in northwest Louisiana this morning. First, some of the coolest early fall weather we've had. Well, the great Wesson fixed barrel 357 in stainless steel. You can get them in blued steel or stainless with fixed or adjustable sights, and it just depends on what you want and what your needs are for concealment carry. Personally, I think the fixed sights are a little easier to work with, but as far as snag free or whatever else, but these are tremendous guns and they darn sure deserve a look. Edit 3, 2, 1. Now, friends, another little gun we're going to look at today. I say little because it really is little. The Wesson, of course, is a smaller 357, but this is the Beretta model 950BS. It's a 25 ACP chambering, and these are really neat little guns. Now, this is a single action gun. Recently on our show we featured the double action 22 long rifle. All right, this is a slightly smaller gun in single action only. So let's take a look at it up close.
All right, friends, you can tell, in fact, what a small handgun this is. It literally can be covered easily in the palm of my hand. It holds 8 in the magazine of the 25 ACP, and of course it has a tip-up barrel, as you can see, and you can check. We definitely always check to see if they're unloaded. But you can load the gun, one in the barrel, and then put 8 in the magazine that goes here in the base. You have your magazine release right here, and you have, of course, this little gun to fire must be cocked manually. And of course, you do have a small safety, just like on a 1911, except much, much smaller. But these are very fine little guns. They're very finely made. They function extremely well, and one that is highly desirable as a backup gun, certainly. Edit 3, 2, 1. Now friends, there are a couple of different types of ammunition available for the 25 ACP. This is one of them. This is a Winchester load. It's a soft lead bullet with a little steel ball in the nose, and we shot this one into sand, and you can see how it's expanded here. Pretty dramatic if you ask me. And now, of course, here's the other bullet type, the full metal jacket. And of course, you can see this bullet here. We recovered this. We shot it through a 2x4, in fact. And that's how much what the bullet looks like. It has no expansion at all, but quite a bit more penetration. All right, edit 3, 2, 1. Now friends, as I said, these are great backup guns. I would not want to go into a gunfight with a 25 ACP anything, Beretta, anything else, although if all I have is a 25, this is one of the very best guns of its type. You know, as with any semi-automatic, whether it be this Beretta 25 ACP or this Colt 45, you need to shoot a minimum of 200 rounds through these guns to loosen and mate the working parts, because it is so important that the parts rub against each other and become smooth, and of course they need cleaning and good lubrication. There are some limitations as to any small semi-automatic. They're subject to, if you carry one in your pocket, you may get some lint in some of the moving parts, but if these guns are maintained fairly well, kept reasonably clean, they will work about as well as any other semi-automatic for that matter. They're extremely reliable for what they are. Since this is a center fire cartridge, I don't have a problem with the single action design. The way I would carry this gun would be chamber loaded. Myself, this is just me, chamber loaded, magazine full, and with the safety off and hammered down on this particular gun. And of course, to get the gun into action, you just take it out and cock it, and of course it's ready to shoot. But these little guns are surprisingly accurate, and in the 25 ACP, for defensive purposes as a backup gun, I believe that I would go with the full metal jacket round, because it has much more penetration, say, than the 22 long rifle, or even the soft nose, or the, what do you want to call the pellet nose bullet. Now then, for varmints, small varmint type things or snakes, the expanding bullet might be the way to go, because they are extremely accurate. Here at a distance of a few feet, you can practice with these guns, and you can get to where you can hit empty shell casings, and believe me, that is plenty accurate enough for snake shooting. Well, let's take a look at it on paper. These guns are extremely reliable. Again, as I had mentioned earlier, we loaded the magazine in the base of the gun. Now I'm going to load the chamber, tip the barrel up, and insert a bullet and snap it down in place. So let's take a look on our paper target and just see what it looks like. Okay, edit 3, 2, 1. Now friends, realize I'm about 10 feet from this paper, and this is about as far probably as you'd ever be called on to use one of these guns, although I think you'll be surprised with just what they'll do. Let's take a look at our top target here in the circle, and we're going to shoot it. Remember, you've still got to have that locked wrist, that firm grip. Be sure your grip is low enough on the gun where the slide doesn't catch your hand. So let's take a look. And there's
All right, that's 5 shots. Let's take a look at it. And we'll check our gun and make it safe. All right, friends, let's walk up to our target and see that's a pretty good group. We've got 5 or so shots there, 5 or 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, for what we're talking about, that is plenty accurate for a small gun like that. Edit 3, 2, 1. Again, friends, we'll let the hammer down. One of the beauty parts about this little gun, when you get through shooting it, you can literally unload the barrel and let the hammer down with your thumb. You can let the hammer down in total safety without being in danger of possibly firing the gun. You can just tip the barrel. It's got to be up far enough. Now let the hammer down. And of course then you can load it or leave it unloaded, whatever you want to do. But these are very fine little guns for what they are. As with any other gun or any other semi-automatic especially, you've got to go out, you've got to shoot the gun, you've got to be familiar with it on how it works. Semi-automatics by their very nature are more complicated in their mechanism or workings than is a revolver. So please, if you do get one of these little guns, go out, buy 200 or 300 rounds of ammunition, go out and really learn how it works. Give it a chance to break it in, because anything that your life could depend on, and it very possibly could at some point, even on one of these little guns, your very life or your family's life could depend on it. So please go out, shoot the gun, and learn how it works, break it in, and I think you'll be much more pleased with any gun for that matter once you learn how it works and learn its strong points and other points, which all of them have. Anyway, the Beretta 950 BS 25 ACP single action semi-automatic.